Well, hello everyone. Um, Today is the 3rd of July 2025. Um, we have an emergency podcast today. Um, I was planning on doing a show today. However, with the news, of course, that we've all seen, um, I felt obviously that was not the right time, and instead I have the real kind of displeasure of talking about some horrendous news that obviously Diogo Jota has unfortunately passed away, along with his brother Andre Silva. Yeah, it's really shocking news, and I don't really know what to say or how to approach the situation. I did not expect to be doing this kind of thing in my second show. I didn't expect to be doing this type of thing in any show. Yeah, it's really awful, and to be honest, I feel like I have to address, because if I have a show about Liverpool, or the Premier League or football, this is unfortunately a tragic event that can't be just and shouldn't be just moved past. So I thought, what can I say or do that would be worthwhile or meaningful in any sort of way? I've thought about it all day. I didn't want to make anything straight away, and I just feel like if we just remember Diogo Jota and I talk about how I remember him from my point of view, that feels like the most appropriate thing to do. So yeah, that's what we'll do on a very different kind of show than any of us would have wanted, and that goes for all football fans out there. So yeah, it's really hard to know what to say. I mean, when I found out, it was this morning, obviously, and it was when my dad actually texted our sort of group and says, I've just seen the Jota news. And initially your mind just instantly goes to, oh, is he injured? And is he missing a chunk of time in the season? So I googled his name. I hadn't seen anything at this point, and saw the news and was absolutely shell shocked, to be honest. For me, I've never seen anything like this in my life, where someone at the top level of sports, at the highest level, still in their prime of their career, passes on in such an abrupt and sudden way. The only time I can remember anything similar happening in sports or in my life with a similar feeling was when Kobe Bryant died, in the helicopter crash back in, I think that was 2020, I believe. And you read the news and you kind of think it can't be real. You think it's got to be a fake report. There's going to be somebody who comes out and says this is not true. This is a hoax. You hope it's a hoax. You really do. But obviously that wasn't the case, and it's heartbreaking. It really is. The difference there obviously is, with those circumstances, is obviously Jota is still a professional active athlete. It's just unprecedented, and it's shocking. It really is. So yeah, let's talk about, I guess, about what we'll remember Jota for, as we sort of pay tribute to him a little bit and dedicate some time just to think about him. And the saddest part about all of this is obviously he's just got married. He described himself as the lucky one in doing so, and he leaves behind his three kids and his wife. And it's not just him that they've lost today, the family. It's also his brother Andre, who we shouldn't forget in all of this. So the first and foremost point of action, a point that we should obviously talk about, is condolences and thoughts with those people at the moment, with the family. I can't imagine what it would be like to be in that position right now. And yeah, it's just, I don't know what else you can say, really. It's awful. So for me, Jota, he played 182 games for Liverpool, scored 65 goals, got 26 assists. I've spent a lot of the day actually watching videos of Jota, sort of reminiscing, and it's really sad. It's really sad to watch someone that I don't know how to explain it. You don't know him, of course. I've never met him, never spoke to him, but because you watch him on TV so much, it is like they are sort of your friends, if that makes sense. Like it does. It's different to a normal celebrity who you don't know passing. It feels more personal, and it's awful. And when I was watching the videos of him, you're reminded what an amazing player he's been for Liverpool, basically since his first game. In his first game, he scored against Arsenal. It was a volley. It was in COVID football, and it was a scruffy volley that sort of mishit off his foot and goes in the corner. And I think pretty much there you encapsulate what Diogo Jota was to Liverpool. It was an instinctive finish. It was a little bit scruffy of a finish. And it was against Arsenal. And if there's one thing he was born to do, it's score against Arsenal. He must have tormented them for years over there. And it's a great thing to look back on. And when we talk about, in the future, when we talk about Diogo Jota and we remember him, we'll remember these things. And this is his legacy that he leaves behind. And I think that's the only thing we can do now, is honour that. And those goals against Arsenal are a big part of it. He also, his final goal for Liverpool was one against Everton. I don't know if you guys remember. If you don't, look it up. It was this season, obviously, and it's when he picks the ball up on the edge of our box and he sort of dribbles past one player, cuts it inside past Tarkowski and hits it in the near post, sends Pickford the wrong way. And that's another classic Jota goal. He would quite often, I watched all these goals today, every single goal he'd ever scored for Liverpool, and the amount of them that are either a tap-in, or he scores with a first-time finish, or he picks the ball up and just suddenly dribbles past everybody and scores. That is Jota's 3 main goals, I would say, for Liverpool. And there's some great goals in there. That one against Everton was a big one. It won us the game. It was, I don't know if you remember, it was the home derby. We won 1-0 against them. And it was in a little point in the season where we weren't in the best form. So it was a big goal. And it was towards the end of the season-ish. So it really put that feeling in that we were maybe really about to go and win the league, for those who hadn't thought it already. He scored another goal this year that was big against Nottingham Forest with his first touch. When we drew at their ground, I don't know if any of you remember again, Tsimikas came on with him. They came on together, Tsimikas took the corner and Jota headed it in. We drew that game 1-1 and it was a big point at the time because Forest were mounting a bit of a title charge. I don't know. Yeah. So that was a big goal as well. He scored against Leicester in the penalty shootout. I don't know if people remember his celebration in that one. He scored and he's looking at the crowd. He's swearing. He's telling them to fuck off. It's great. And that's the thing with him. I do feel like he got us as fans, and he was almost like a fan type player. He never seemed like a particularly fancy, extravagant guy. He seemed like a real down to earth, kind of humble, typical guy who happened to be playing for Liverpool and scoring goals for Liverpool. And that was great because they've been giving him a lot of stick during the game. The Leicester fans had been giving Liverpool a lot of stick. I think that's great. That's the type of thing that encapsulates personality on the pitch, and it was brilliant to watch. And he'd do a lot of that, I noticed, in his celebrations when I watched today. A lot of cups to the ear, a lot of shushes. It's great. And these are all the memories that will live on forever. He scored a hat-trick against Atalanta that I remember on his one of his first games. It might have been his first Champions League game, actually. Might have been, I'm not sure. And he scored a hat-trick, and it was like, wow, what have we signed? And even when we signed Jota, it was right after we signed Thiago. It just happened like that, and it was exciting, and he came in and he was good straight away, and that's what he carried on doing till the very end. He scored an iconic win when we beat United 5-0 at Old Trafford. Like that's a game that will be shown down generations of Liverpool fans, on and on and on. And he played a part in it, scored a goal. So again, that'll forever live on. He also scored the first goal in the Arne Slot era against Ipswich this season, which I think is quite fitting at this point, because we're always going to remember that this event is not just going to last for today. It's going to go on it's going to be remembered for people's lifetimes, and to have that link with Arne Slot as the first goal scorer, I just think is quite special. So that's fantastic. That he has that, and that we have that as fans to reminisce, and I'll always have that memory. That's a good one to hold. And I think my favourite memory of Jota is, and I've seen a lot of people saying this today, and I agree, is the 4-3 game against Spurs when he scored the fourth goal. We were winning 3-0 in that game, I believe, and they got it back to 3-3. Richarlison scored and was doing the pigeon shite all over the pitch. And we scored straight from kickoff, and it was Jota, and he scores the goal, and it's a huge goal, and he's just cool, sits down, pretends he's playing the PlayStation, which is just that's just awesome. That's just a great memory, and it was an iconic goal, and I think that's a lot of people's favourite memories of him, and that's how we should remember him, as a goal scorer, as a great person, and that's all we can do. It's funny, like the PlayStation celebration. The guy, obviously we know he loved playing the PlayStation. He loved playing FIFA. I saw him not against me personally, but against a lot of top players when I'd play. I'd see him in the top 200. I'd always try and match up against him, but never quite got there. It would have been cool. Yeah. And one day he actually had to quit a FIFA tournament he was playing in because he was going to play in the Premier League, and he then scored that night. So that's just really cool. It's just a really cool thing and memory. And his celebrations were always, they had a little bit of something to them, you know. He scored one goal, one of my favourites, against Everton, this time at Goodison, where he spins his defender and he thrashes it in the top corner with his left foot, and he just wheels away, and he's doing the crocodile. And the crocodile, we never really found out why he did the crocodile celebration, but he did do it a couple of times. Or at least I never found out why he did it. He did it against Burnley once as well. It's just a funny one. You just run away and do this crocodile sort of thing, and it's great. And that they're such great things to remember. He'll always be remembered in part of the most controversial game I think I've ever seen in the Prem, where the Luis Diaz goal against Spurs was ruled offside when it was actually onside. Curtis Jones got the red card, and then Jota got the red card. His only red card for us, and 2 yellows, and the second of which Udogie actually tripped over his own heels, and Jota got sent off. So he's part of that. So when you look at all these things, he's a real big part of Liverpool's history. I was surprised how many appearances he actually made for us, in 182. It could have been a lot more if it wasn't for injuries too. And it's appropriate to bring that up, because a horrifically sad detail that I read was he's actually had surgery this summer, and as a result was advised not to fly. So he was driving to the ferry port to get the ferry to England to join up with Liverpool's pre-season on Monday, and that was what he was doing, and he was making the journey to the ferry port from Porto, where he'd previously driven to attend his wedding, which is just, those kind of details are just real heartbreaking, and like a horrific coincidence, and the world works like that sometimes, and it's really it's difficult and hard and cruel as to why those things happen and why they have to happen that way, the coincidences. But he'll be remembered, and initially I was thinking also, will Liverpool honour him by, should we retire his number? That was one of the first I guess football related thoughts I had towards him. Should we retire his number? And my initial thought, honestly, was yes, we should. It's not a Liverpool thing that we have ever done before. I don't think any numbers retired for Liverpool. It's very common in America, and not so much in England, in English football either. But I was thinking we should retire it, but as the day's gone on, I've started to think a better idea might be, and this is not for me to decide, of course. I'm just telling you guys what I think, and I think maybe we should retire his number for the duration of his contract, and then open the number back up. And the reason why is because I think having that number 20, which is forever now an iconic number at Liverpool, number 20 for a player who won number 20 wearing it, that number should be a symbol of honouring Jota by letting players, maybe perhaps even his own family, people wanting to become like Diogo Jota and the player that he was. And I think that might be a nice thing, and we shouldn't take that away from him. In that method, we get to honour him and also carry forward his legacy into the future. And maybe that's not what they'll do. I'm sure Liverpool will handle it. really well. I trust Liverpool more than pretty much anyone else on the planet to get this right. I've seen a lot of the tributes people are delivering to Anfield, the flowers, the you know the I don't know if the mural's the right word to use, but the tributes that people are leaving at the stadium is real heartwarming stuff, and it just reminds you of how closely knit together this club is and what a special club it is. Because the reality is, it's an event where it really does make you think of those around you, and it's great to see everyone sort of paying their respects in that way to him. And I do think this year we should definitely, if nothing else, maybe have some sort of patch on the jersey or inside the collar, maybe something like that, a number 20, a Portugal flag, something along those lines to honour him for the whole year, because that's now what this whole year becomes about. It's about Jota and doing it for him and his memory. It's really sad, honestly. It's hard to talk about, to be honest. Like, when you think about him, about him just suddenly not being around, it's a lot. So I think the club will be great in handling this. I saw a lot of clubs. I think I've not checked every club, obviously, but a lot of people and clubs around the world have all paid their respects in their own ways, which is a lovely thing to see. And it's a reminder that at these times that football maybe should be less about tribalism and more about coming together. And these people are footballers trying to entertain us in their job, and not just Jota but Andre Silva as well, who was a player for, I don't know how to pronounce it, but it might be Penafiel in Portugal's second tier. It's not just Jota, it's him as well, the entertaining fans around the world. And it's a time when we've got to come together and pay respects and honour them the best we can. And I think Liverpool will do that in the right way. So that's, I guess, how I'll remember him, and I'm sure everyone will have their own memories, and that's how it should be. He should not be, and he won't be forgotten. And Liverpool next year will honour him in the right way. I'm 100% positive about that, and the tributes that will occur in pre-season and on the opening day of the new season will be really touching and difficult to watch as well. But Liverpool as a team and as a club and city and all of those around him will pull together, I'm sure, to do the right thing. So that's kind of it, I think, today. I will be back tomorrow with the show that was going to be today. However, it didn't, like I said at the start, it was not obviously the time to do anything else other than to give this day to Diogo and his family, and to make it a day of mourning for them and nothing else. So that's what this is. I had to address the situation. So that's what this video is, and I hope that everything I've talked about is worthwhile and not just emptiness. Like, I'm not used to really speaking in front of a camera so much yet, and doing this is not easy for anybody. So I hope it was worth someone's time watching or listening. So yeah. Rest in peace to Diogo and Andre. Thoughts and prayers, obviously, with the family and those close to him. Horrendous news, but let it be a reminder to everyone to how precious time on this earth truly is. So with that, With that, this is the end of the emergency podcast today. Back again tomorrow with another show. Thank you for listening, guys. See you later.